blown. No surprise, guess I should have known. Oh, my mind, now my mind is blown. No surprise, guess I should have known. You got control of me, break my barricades. Walls are crumbling, grounds they shake. You came to save, but it's way too late. Every single time you stay, I cave. You got control of me, break my barricades. Walls are crumbling. Every single time you say I cave. You got control of me, break my barricades. Walls are crumbling. Every single time you say I cave. Oh, my mind, now my mind is blown. No surprise, guess I should have known. Oh, my mind, now my mind is blown. No surprise, guess I should have known. You got control of me, break my barricades. Walls are crumbling, grounds they shake. You came to save, but it's way too late. Every single time you stay, I cave. You got control of me, break my barricades. Walls are crumbling. Every single time you say I cave. You got control of me, break my barricades. Walls are crumbling. Every single time you say I cave. I like it when the bass go, 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 I like it when the bass go. I like it when the bass go.
Sorry. Thank you. Good point. Thanks for pointing that out. I've just been speaking for the last like 5 minutes and not realised. Yes. I don't know if you were in a fight a minute ago, in Eve, but that was quite an exciting fight. Some of your guys were actually defending Pandemic Horde. If you are still involved with any of the groups that are involved with Pandemic Horde, even if you've left. But we were just fighting a group that were, I can't remember who they were actually now. I should remember. Actually, I might still have the fleet. We just need to go back down to Harco village in a minute. Harco village. You're at work. Okay. I think I should still have the game history. I can show you the battle report. Find it. Game history. Battle report. Here we go. I'll share the report with you. There you go. So yeah, that was quite a good fight. That it was. Apparently, we'd actually gone there for a different purpose, but we just kind of ended up stumbling into something and got a fight out of it on a gate, which that was the more unexpected part because they took a fight on a gate. They also had 2 capitals there as well, 2 faxes. They obviously lost the faxes. They were actually doing quite well at the start considering their numbers, and we didn't have 2 fleets on the field at the very start, but we did by the end, just purely because then another fleet tank went out to say there was capitals on the field, and then you could have just imagined a swarm of people extra trying to get there just to get on a capital kill mail. It's quite funny. So you leaving Pandemic Horde then, or you left? I'm just about to try and make some money because in this game, making money is not as easy as it needs. However, I have found something potentially that you can make some good money on, because there is some guy that's selling the parts I'm about to sell now. So, show you. I checked before just to check what the market's like, because I noticed it the other day when I was actually trying to buy these myself, and I ended up buying them off an NPC for like a ridiculous amount of money as well. So, alright, okay, that's fair enough. I've never played for the opposition, if is that the right way of putting it. I'm obviously aware of Goblin and stuff, but I don't really know the guy other than obviously the propaganda is the best way of describing the guy. Obviously, I don't know him or understand what he is like as a person. I've been told a lot about the guy, but you know, I'm never going to hear good news about Goblins or any of the rest of the Pandemic Horde or Pam Fam kind of leadership. So, yeah. So there's a guy here selling thermatic coolers for 6,200 a piece. Now, I'm not sure why he's charging that much, or he or she, because it could be a she as well. but you can buy these off an NPC for 5,000 each, and I did that in order to build something way back when I wasn't able to go in the deep desert. Just because I didn't have an ornithopter, or I didn't have a spare ornithopter. And if you go into the deep desert, it's like EVE Online. You have to have a backup, because if you lose your ornithopter, you've lost your easy transport around the place. So you can only rarely go into the deep desert once you've got a backup of anything you're going to take out there. Leaving by tomorrow. Nice. Oh yeah, no renting. Wow. Is it true then? Your taxes are ridiculously expensive. Undercuts this guy. And the thing is he would have paid a lot of tax to put that on as well, because he's put a hell of a lot on. So I should be able to undercut him easily, and he won't be able to undercut me because he would have lost a lot of money if he tries to. So probably just keep it on, hope mine sells, or we could buy mine. Who knows? Let's sell. Price per unit, we're not selling it for that much. Gonna sell for 2,000. I make some good profit. I need to do that. And I don't have that much money, so I'm going to have to reduce how many I can sell. 70. That's just enough. Is it not? Insufficient salary. Oh, I haven't put the money in. Just realised. I haven't put the money in the bank. Latin's 10. Mine is 20. Ooh. No worries, Norm. Have a good day, mate. Hope enjoy your work.
Welcome. Would you like to deposit or withdraw Solaris? How much Solaris would you like to deposit?
Deposit it all. Give it all. Do you want to make some money? So, with regards to what we're doing now then, so I'm trying to make some money basically, because I need to step away from, I want to step away as much as I can from the dungeon side. Although at the start of in today's stream we are actually going to go through the dungeons, so I can show you like what all these dungeons are like in the PvP area on the A. So I'll show you the map, kind of representation of the map at least, and then I'll go through with regards to where you can go for the PvE on the map, and everyone should actually go out there as well. There is a lot of people probably very scared to go out to the desert, and trust me, I can kind of understand, because if you're not a PvP player naturally, it will be quite scary going somewhere you haven't been before. However, that said, that's 45. Taxes, exchange fees. Oh, that's because I've not put it on 7 days. Oh, that's 60. Yeah, so effectively, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because you can easily get these from the PvE section, and I've got a feeling there are a lot of people that are scared to go into the deep desert. They just refuse to go in there, and I kind of understand why, because there is obviously, people will hear about ganking and various different other things, but the thing is where I'm going to show you today, it's really safe. Like, like pretty much, I would say like 90% safe, and I'll show you why it's not 100% safe. But at the same time, you have got plenty of places where you can go and you are 100% safe. There are just some things you have to be aware of when you go out there if you're scared of the PvP side of it. But everyone should be going out there because there are resources out there that even if you don't go into the PvP sections, you can still stay in the PvE sections and still benefit from going to the deep desert and even having a base out there. And there are also things that I will show you about that as well, so that you understand kind of like as to what you need to do out there and why you should have certain things out there as well. So we'll now go to the deep desert now that I've set up hopefully a money making machine, and I can show you how you can do that, make up the same money making machine as well on your server that you're on, because I can't see this being a unique thing just to where I am. And you'll also probably find that you'll also have people, not everyone be flooding the market on every server, and you'll find something that you can potentially find that is available in the deep desert, and allow you to make some money to the people that won't go into the deep desert, because there will always be people that will completely shy away from the PvP side of things, and everyone is aware that the deep desert is where the PvP happens, just not all of it. But because it happens there at all, it means people are shy away from it. Welcome to the deep desert. I'll firstly show you the base that we set up. It's just a boarding outpost base. It's nothing special. It literally has nothing there really other than putting our helicopter in, if I'm honest. That's the only reason I built it. It's just so that I don't have to go back to our main base in Haggle Rift every time I've obviously got a load of loot that I've got when I've come out here. Because at the moment what I'm doing is I'm trying to build up reserves so that we've got plenty of backup, like ornithopters, etc, etc. Obviously I've already have 2 of these scout ornithopters, which is a good start, and so far since I've been in the deep desert, and I am in the PvP sections that I do go to often, I've not had any fighting encounters yet. Firstly because I'm not trying to engage them, but I'm also in like kind of gathering mode at the moment, so unless someone actually tries to fight me and gank me, because essentially that's what generally most people do that are attacking the people that are gathering, then that's essentially that I'm not gaining those fights. And at the moment I'm not gaining any fights because so far I've not bumped into anyone that's fighting. At least I've bumped into other sort of gatherers. Like in Eve terms we call them kind of like the so what do we call them? I'm trying to think now. But we call players that tend to stay on the PvE side of it, and the farming side of it. What do we call them? I really can't remember the name, but we call them a name, and that just refers to a group of players who are very comfortable in the PvE side of things, and they like to gather and build stuff generally and make money. Who doesn't like to make money? And then we have PvP players who are, some of them solo. I'm in EVE Online. I'm part of I can't call it a guild because it's way bigger than a guild. Like in this game, a guild is like 40 max. Like in this guild, which I've set up, it's 32 members you can put in this. I don't think it's not like EVE Online as well, where you can expand it or anything like that. Literally 32. Once you reach that, then in the larger guilds, for what I understand, they have like the first, second, and third, etc. guilds, which obviously want their main bit slot to full, then they have a second one, and basically I would imagine the best players filter up to the top, and or the other players filter down, or etc. etc. Or they may even break up in the sense of like having different divisions, so they'll have a kind of like, say, more of an industry style that are there for gathering resources and various other things like that. So if you notice this base, you should half recognise it, because it's pretty much what we've got on top of our main base in Haggis Rift. The only slight difference with this is it's the same length, so this wise to this wise it's the same length, but wide it's two tiles, I suppose you call them, wider. So it's same length but slightly wider by two tiles, which just means that these are two on both sides. Actually, it'd be one, not two. Or actually, will it be two? No, it will be two, because yeah, it's just the way I've got it on one of the sides. Thinking about it, just yeah. So I made it very slightly different, just in dimensions. But other than that, it's actually completely exactly the same design. We've got our big things here, which are made out of special things. Put some lights on the side of this one, just because obviously we don't have a base below it, so you are restricted on how many lights you can put on a building, which is why I've not done it on our Haggis Rift base. However, because I actually think that this looks pretty cool, it's just the fact there's a lot of lights to put up for something that just, yeah, has not that much function, because it doesn't really light that much up, it just more looks good than anything else. We are powering this simply by some wind turbines. Again, everything out in the deep desert as well also uses half the cost for building. So when we go to build stuff, the actual cost of all of this stuff that we go to build is like half the cost. So the wind turbine out here only costs 45 steel. The same back at like Haggis Rift will cost us 90 steel, and the same with the cobalt paste, etc, etc. Now that's just for this bit thing, but the thing where you start to really see the differences is things like when you get to the medium chemical refinery, the delirium, it's at 150 delirium, so that's obviously half of what I've had to do to build the one that I built back actually in Haggis Rift, which I do have one of these now in Haggis Rift. And things like when you get to the medium spice refinery as well, again it's half the actual resources to actually build out here, which obviously makes it a lot better than with regards to being able to build this, because there's a lot, obviously when you're starting things off, these like 135 spice melange doesn't sound like much. When you look at some of the other figures, you think, oh well, that doesn't sound too bad, but in terms of how much actual spice sand you need for that, when you're starting out and you need to start out with this, because obviously you need to convert the spice sand into the actual melange, and that works out at like 1000 spice sand to get 1 unit of melange. So when you think about 135, that's 135,000 spice sand you have to get. And even when you get all of like the good gear that you need to be able to do this in the deep desert, which I'll show you the run that we're going to do where you can get this stuff. The Spice Compactor MK5 is a no-brainer. You have to have this realistically if you're going to be out in the deep desert, and you really should have this even if you're going to be in PvE section, even in Haggis Rift, because the actual thing of getting this is trying to stop the worms from attacking you as much. Like, it's more effective, don't get me wrong, in a deep desert, because generally deep desert the worms are kind of like less aggro, kind of sensitive, where in Haggis Rift I noticed myself they are very kind of aggro sensitive. Put it this way, I literally had a worm that was literally just stalking me in Haggis Rift. Literally, I mean, like, this thing would not go away. As soon as I landed, pretty much, even with this stuff that I have out here, using this because I tested it there first to see how good it was. But I just found the worms literally was, once it arrived, it just wouldn't go away. It kind of went away temporarily, and you literally, I could see it literally like went past me once, and I was like, yeah. And the thing is with the worms as well, something not everyone realised, and I didn't realise completely myself because no one properly mentions this, but the actual worms do actually have to breach before they'll actually go to try and eat you. Because every time I used to just see the thing go, the actual worm proper aggro, and that's when it goes red. I was kind of like nervous, and obviously straight away wanted to get back into the ornithopter, and you should do something wrong, but just because it goes like that, you see the worm like coming towards you, you do have quite a bit more time than you think. I would say it's probably about 5 seconds ish. I've never really timed it. Like the thing is when you're like, and I still get the actual adrenaline rush from doing it, and because I get the adrenaline rush from it, I know that my timing on it at the moment will not be right. But it feels about like when it happens, it feels like like it doesn't even feel like a second. By the time like that you have to get away from it, it's just like it feels such a short time. However, it's one of those things where when you're so intense about something, the time will feel so different to actually what it really was. So I think it's actually it is quite a significant amount of time before it actually comes back down and goes to like obviously eat you if you continue to stay there, and not get back into your ornithopter or back on your bike, etc. If you're on a bike, I hope you're very close to the nearest rocks, because if you're not, you're probably going to get eaten up anyway if it's breached and you're not anywhere kind of near those rocks by the point it gets back into the sand. But yeah, one thing I will definitely say is it's like really good fun out here. We are in currently the PvE section. You could tell that by if you look at the very top, where our compass is, it's yellow, and that's our indicator of where we are at the moment. When that turns red, we know we're in a PvP area. So once I get to a position where I can show you, I'll show you what the map, well, part of the map looks like. You have to bear in mind that the map resets, as you all should be aware, especially in a deep desert, every Tuesday, and the map only reset yesterday. So, well, kind of, yeah, yesterday evening. Actually, no, yesterday evening. Monday evening that goes into Tuesday. Or is it Tuesday? Actually, no, yeah, it resets actually Tuesday, about 11 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, it's like confusing. I'm trying to think when it actually resets. It's kind of like, it does reset on Tuesday, but like EVE Online and some other online games, there is a point when the servers go down in order to like refresh the servers, and it's at that point where just before the servers go down that the actual map resets. So when the map reset today, we set up the actual our base, and as you can see, there isn't just me doing this. There's someone else has got a nice little base there. Probably like just there for like stopgap for them, so that they can get their goods back to a certain point. It allows them to stay out in the desert. You'll find certain people do refining out here as well. So that one there looks like, I think I could see some refiners under that thing. They'll do their refining out here because obviously they can make the machinery parts out here, or they can use more of the actual fabricators and all the other stuff. That everything you build out here, but obviously being half the cost, means that you can build anything that requires spice melange or other rare resources. You can build out here and get it all, or pretty much all of, even if you're starting out, means you'll be able to get like double what you'd be able to get if you obviously can't afford it at the very start, but no one can. Everyone starts from somewhere. So where we're going to at the moment is we're going to head across effectively to around here-ish, I think. I think it's around there. We're heading towards one of the research stations, because it's these research stations where we have a chance to get blueprints. And you find that players will be doing these constantly. Like I said, you do not have to be worried about being in these sections. Where we are right now, which is the kind of like, I think people call it the beyond the wall kind of area. Effectively, how it used to be is if you went beyond where the wall is there and you see the sand out there, which is the deep desert, if you went beyond that wall, the way it was meant to be at the very start would be the start of the PvP zone. And just where we are now, where the rocks are, with big rock cliffs, this was going to be the PvE area. However, in a patch that was released about a month ago now, they changed it because they got player feedback, and that player feedback must have obviously pointed them towards saying, well, a lot of people just aren't comfortable going out to the deep desert, and the PvP numbers were so low that effectively they changed it. So now the deep desert, I wouldn't say quite half, but almost half and half is PvE and PvP. So the PvP zone, I would say, is probably about 3/4. I'd say, like, if you divide it into like thirds, it's 2/3 PvP and 1/3 PvE. As you can tell, I'm not concentrating, so I'm not going to be able to glide across here for free, but I'm not concentrating on the gliding thing, and because I'm not concentrating on the gliding thing, we're having to use our fuel a bit just to regain some altitude, because I keep not gliding efficiently to keep the altitude properly, or gain altitude as I normally do. And yeah, so essentially, so you can go like a third of the desert out and you'll still stay in the PvP areas. So what players are now doing is they're essentially going to rock outcrops, places where there isn't just one whole big rock area, but essentially little places like you can see here, but essentially out in the desert, and building their bases on that in the PvE area of that. Now there is or at least one guild that I noticed in the PvP area last week, because obviously I played over the weekend in the deep desert, and got a feel for everything, so I could guide you guys through it. Obviously did my research as well, checked out other players, seeing what people were doing, where to go for what stuff, etc, etc. And there's, okay, so this is going to be our first stop off point. So this is in our first area, which I will bring up the map once we're done. Testing station 37. Remember, testing station 37. And this is where we can essentially get our chance to get the blueprint, which is for the tool. I can't even always call it now. I call it a special wand, but yeah, the tool that allows us to farm things like the spice melange, or the actual spice sand, and also the flower sand as well. So it will allow us to get the Mark V version, and that Mark V version allows us to get much better stats on actually being able to firstly get the best grouping of the actual spice sand itself. So when we're getting sand and getting other stuff, as you can see, there's a page from past us, but we're in a PvE section, so what that probably means is the end loot box could be, well, it's probably been looted unless he missed it. But also this area will probably be clear as well. But we can still do what we are. The other main reason why I want to come here is so we can get these things, and it doesn't look like he has looted any of the boxes, but we look quite empty here, so it does look like, even though they're not interested in any of this, I am, because I'm going to make some money off getting the thermal coolers. Well, hopefully that's the plan, we'll see. I'm sadly undercutting someone, so we've got potential to make some good money off it. Yeah, so effectively what you can get from having the Mark V is you'll get a better grouping when you're actually like shooting your wand at sand, and whilst also doing that you get much less aggro. So if you look at the Mark V stats of a normal version of it, you'll find that you'll actually be able to get a lot more aggro. So on the normal one, the aggro rating is extreme or high. I think it's extreme. It's either extreme, high, or extreme. I'll go see if the other area is being cleared. If it hasn't, we'll clear it. But if obviously when we're doing this you're using extreme, then it means you're going to aggro the worm straight away. And one thing I also found as well was, for whatever reason, my shield kept coming on. So the shield kept coming on and the worms kept getting aggroed straight away. I was actually doing that while I was actually in Haggard's Rift and not realising, but then I noticed it, and then it was like, oh, why is the shield keep automatically coming on? It looks like literally this place has been cleared. Yeah, I know where all the enemies are because I've run this quite a lot over the weekend, and yeah, because this is now empty. So what we're getting at the moment, we're getting all the free stuff, but the thing I rarely want, which we probably won't be able to get, is the blueprint, or a blueprint. So when you come to this as well, another thing that I've noticed other YouTubers not mentioning is people will just tell you to come here because you'll get a blueprint here, and another research station, which I'll show you that one as well, although that one would probably be like this one, where the fact that it's constantly being run, so it's a bit of luck as to whether or not you run it, and it hasn't been run yet, but we'll see. If it hasn't been run, it's good, even though obviously you have to kill enemies. It's good because it means that when we get to the final boss area, which is what this is, there's no people in it, it means that you've got a good chance of getting loot. However, that box is... people literally must be just going straight to this. I'll soon find out. Like, I just want to go to it to see if there's anything there, but... So we can pick up some intel. Just gives us intel on the local area. That's not the main loot. So this is the main loot box. It is open, yeah. So actually there is a blueprint in there. Okay, that's cool. So we didn't get a blueprint for the thing that you might have been able to see, but what you essentially do get in here is the chance to get MK5 blueprints. This is obviously the MK5 blueprint for the assault booster ornithopter, which is great. I think I actually have one, but if I don't, great, I've got one. I've actually got a few blueprints, and I had to rent about this actual thing about 5 times before I actually got the blueprint I actually really wanted. The reason why I'd actually come here to start with. You may find that yourself, that you have to run this quite a few different times. It takes well, it used to be 30 minutes apparently before you could rerun this again and have a chance to get another blueprint. But apparently that's changed now, and it now resets after 45 minutes. So you now have to wait 45 minutes before you'll be able to run this again. But every 45 minutes or so you can come back and rerun it. So what we'll do is we'll now go to the other one. If the other one hasn't been run, it'll probably take us about well, not that long to get through it, if I'm honest. About 15 minutes to run through it. Once you experience doing it, like the first time I ran this one, it took me about an hour because I was literally calling because I didn't know how many enemies I was going to pull and how hard they were, and they do shoot a lot harder in these as well. You also have quite a few different of the NPCs, and some of them will fire the penetrating darts. When they hit hard, like really hard. Like someone said they do about like, I don't know, 50% damage. I found they literally like like one hit would take me all the way down to having hardly any health, and then I would have to put my health back up, and after I put my health back up, yeah, like if they'd hit me in between me trying to put my health back up, or obviously trying to run away or at least get out of the way, if they'd taken down my shield, then I was literally having to try and survive however I could. I died probably, I think I only died once. Or did I die even once? Actually, I don't think. Actually, I didn't die once. I did go down a couple of times and use the injection, like the, I don't know what it is. They inject adrenaline to get you back on your feet. However, I didn't die. I just got to that stage a few times, and that's because these darts are just so powerful. Like it's almost like a one shot. It takes your health down, and then someone else, if you've got your shield down, just literally like one shots you from that point onwards, almost any weapon, because you've got no hardly any health. Well, I didn't. I had like less than 5% health. It's like barely at the bottom of your health. So it could be also because they're maybe running it with like heavy armor, and I haven't got heavy armor. Like I like the proper Dune suits, like. Suits, but yeah, you can run, and I have been seen most players do tend to go towards medium or heavy armor. I'm really, yeah, I'm more of a traditionalist on this. Like, I want an armor that's okay armor, but unless I have to wear the heavy armor, I will always try and lean towards staying with what I've got now. Because I like my Dune suit. Hydration suit. I can't remember where the first enemies are, but I've got a feeling this place is going to be empty. I think it's just down here would be where we would see the first in here, and it looks empty. Yeah, so see, when I normally run this as well, I don't normally run it during. I've not run it during prime time, as they would say. Like, even though this is an American server, and I today did see actually people talking in public chat about why Europeans go to American servers, and I was like, well, anyone with any brain cells knows that if you want to PvP, then you go to your own time zone servers, but if you don't want to PvP and you want to do the PvE side of things, then you go to the opposite servers. Now, even though I do want to PvP, obviously I came to the server because most of my mates are American and they were already on the server. So I came because of that reason to start with, but even if they hadn't, for me it makes sense to go on an American server because there's still a certain amount of PvE or PvE I do want to do, and it's more of a resource thing. So it means that when you're on a server of a different time zone, you choose when you PvP. Where if I was playing now on a UK server, if I go out into the PvP zone, I'm just going to get PvP, regardless to whether I want to PvP. because I'm in a prime time. So if you're playing on a server that's outside of the server's prime time, it means that you can do stuff when you kind of like want to, like in your prime time. And then if you want to PvP, you just need to make sure that you're on during the server's prime time. So it means you get the best of both, rather than having to try and grind through a game and be forced to PvP, maybe not necessarily when you want to, and when you want to gather those resources or do whatever it is you want to do, you can't because you're restricted by kind of like how aggressive your server is or various different other factors. So as you can see, we're getting plenty of loot. We haven't had to kill anything yet. I don't know if I'm disappointed or not. I'm disappointed because I can't show you guys like how hard these guys can hit. But like I said, I wouldn't be too worried. Like you can still obviously put your save sticks out. And either way, hopefully on your server it's like this as well. So just bear in mind that as long as you're towards the server's prime time, or even an elevated prime area, so even if you're playing like I am on the American server during EU prime time, there's still going to be a lot of people like me. Like I'd still say the server population is like 90% Americans, but that 10% European base means that there's a good 10% of people who the odd person might be full out PvP player, but there's not going to be that many. And even those players that are like that are going to be like me, who are mindful that they're going to need a certain amount of resources in order to be able to do what they do. Or they could just learn how to make money in the game and not have to do any of the PvE section. Now, I'm hoping we do get to a stage where we can do that, but firstly I need to make sure that we have all the machinery to do that, and that will cost some money as well. So how we do this, unless we completely grind the game out and work out a way of making money without having to grind the PvE sections. I can never remember the way out of this place. I always get in here and then I think it's back this way. When I looked at that, we came in before. I think it's the opposite side of this. I think I did this last time to see the first edge because it looks like the way. And then I was going back and forth thinking, this is the way, but this isn't the way. Yeah, this is the way out. Did we? I don't think we've gone for any loot areas, have we? I know we went in here, but did I see the main chest? That's not it. That's one of like the good chests, but there's in each of these there should be a main chest as well that looks like the other one. I'll just buy it. If I didn't go back here, that's not it. They're not it. Or maybe this one doesn't have one. Should have one. And there's no door. So I've never actually got. I don't think I've actually got blueprint last time I came to this one either. There's probably somewhere I'm supposed to be going. I don't know. We'll have a tour. Is it this the way? Aye, that's right. We'll get this schematic as well, gives us the intel in this area. 30 data points. Anything of interest? Where's the main chest? And we got exactly the same as we got out of the other one. It's another booster. So we've got like 2 of them there. So we've got a steady assault booster module part 5 and a steady booster part 5. Oh well, luck of the draw I guess. But we also got the spice infused delirium dust as well, so that's obviously super useful as well for our crafting. Again, that saves us having to buy that off player market, etc. Because the delirium, well, obviously you get the stuff to make that around the place, but it's well, obviously you need make delirium. You need obviously aluminium and the jasmine. Keep thinking jasmine, but it's not the jasper. However, that's obviously in the radiation zone of jasper. So yeah, while there is one place there that you can get, I'm just doing it again. There is one place there you can get some of the stuff. It is a PvP area because it's a ship that you have to go to. You also do get the chance to get the core element as well, which is also a crafting thing, which you can only get from those ships. But those same things are actually in this area as well, so I'll go and show you those areas, and these areas that I'm going to show you now are the parts that I first explained. Is the reason why I can't say it's 100% safe in this PvE area, because there are some little areas where even in these areas it's a PvP area, but they are kind of like obvious when you get to them, and they are exactly the same as what you'd expect in Ares React. I would just say that you've got a much stronger chance of running into a player here who might fight you. Let's have a look at a map and see if, because we got data points now, so we should be able to see things around us. Well, he says that, but so I did see. So what I'm looking for is a shipwreck, and I did spot some on the way across actually, but I was expecting the map, now that we've opened the thing and opened up the intel, that I thought we would have got some intel of what's in the local area, but maybe not. We'll have to just spot one. So you can see now as well, they're actually invisible to the hill, so we'll head over there. I haven't got the best armor on either. I've got armor on that I'm willing to lose. And also when you're here as well, like some people do mention this specific thing. If you're ever being attacked and you're in your ornithopter being attacked, you can get out your ornithopter and just scoop it up. Your ornithopter is probably the most valuable thing, and when you die out here, you'll die, but you carry everything with you. So the whole idea of scooping up your ornithopter is that, well, if you don't want to lose it, then scoop it up, because you'll spawn with your ornithopter again. Well, it's a good sign, because it means that no one's going to be in here. This is not being touched. Well, I'd imagine unless someone's waiting in for it. Still could be. Because they just respawn it, the door's back on. And when we do die, we do still drop any of the rarer things we were carrying, so those blueprints, etc. that we were carrying, they'll be dropped at the moment. I'm just not sure whether players can actually pick them up or not. I can't say I've actually taken much notice. The whole common theme here. And I die when I'm on a live stream. Awesome. Never mind. That's the way things go. It is like the thing I've got at the moment is that I'm guessing none of these are allowed to come out. Else they would have come out by now. Probably hence why I wasn't able to use the voice on them as well. Being right at the door means I can't just go in. Looks like there's a ton of them there. And they all hit hard. So I'll have to clear them before we get in. He's only just in now, so we might be able to. Shield off! Yep, finally. No, it's over. I've actually changed all my buttons around as well. So it might seem like all fingers are buttons, purely because I actually moved them around to make it easier. Sometimes my brain keeps thinking old buttons. I've done it so that actually visually they look the same as what they do on the screen, because I did have them mashed around a bit. So sometimes I would tend to look down and think, oh, is it the same order? I can't remember which order they are. All the special moves are now essentially they match what we have on the screen. So left's left and right's right, in the middle. So, as you can see at the top, it's red. These are the only areas in the PvP or in the PvE section that are PvP. As you obviously you can tell what they are, because all of these crash ships are. The small ships that you see crashed in the desert, you can go to those, and they aren't PvP. They are just normal ships, but you normally tend to only find them in the PvP areas. So you shouldn't see any crashed ships that I'm aware of, at least, that crash in the PvE side of the desert, deep desert. I say that, but I'm not 100% sure. Like when I've seen them, I've only seen them in the PvP areas. I've not seen them in the PvE areas. I'm actually currently looking for these this time. And I don't know where it is. Come to me. What's that mean at that? Actually, I can't get out of it. be a crate or something the other day. So, yeah, just normal areas. Did have my shield on just in case one does show up. Yeah, I don't know where that pond is. I can't see it anywhere. Well, we're not going on to the because we're going down for this time. I've got no idea where it is. There is X out of this area. Not sure how far you have to come away, but you'll notice how far you come away because the bar at the top should start changing. There we go. So you do have a 30-second timer as soon as you come out of the PvP area. So within that 20 seconds you can still be attacked. Once that timer changes, then we can no longer be attacked. Maybe you get the wristband from that one. Just attack them in order. Maybe. Let's try and take the NPCs out before we get on the edge. I don't know if it's all small ones. We can try and grab those for you. They hit hard, or I just hadn't healed up properly from last time, but. Nobody's business. You can definitely see why people wear hard armor, or heavy armor around here. I have actually got Mark 5 shield on as well. Not you'd think that, because he's literally just penetrated it.
up!
What's not many things that take 2 shots from a spark sword. I can't seem to get. Like, I don't know if it's just because his body's just there, but I can't seem to get access to the loot that he has. Never mind, we won't bother too much about the loot. We want the loot inside here, really. I guess I'm thinking they shoot just as hard.
I see someone.
Oh, shoot us. Or is that just like a random bomb that went off? You both. Another bomb that just went off. I think I've got the volume of the game turned down too much because I can't hear the bomb going off. You can only hear it bing bing bing. It's alright, I've just seen that one. Seen it as I went past it. Is that gas? Big went off behind. I didn't have enough room to pick those up. I literally got them. Well, I've got tons of these things. Blade parts. They can go. These. I didn't really need the rope either, but I kind of have less rope than I have gun parts and stuff, which I am literally, I can't even sell them on the market because like everyone is in the same boat as me. They are just far too easy to get, so they are literally something that you'll have tons of. You'll never be able to use enough of them, no matter how much crafting you do. Even if you do craft enough for everyone else, you still wouldn't be able to use them all. You just get far too many. I think that is one of the game mechanics they will need to adjust, because the drop rate of that and how easy they are to get is just far too easy at the moment and makes them worthless. And you can't even use them that much to craft, if I'm honest. Like, there's nothing. Well, I wouldn't say there's nothing that you don't craft that use them that is worth a lot in the end game, because there is. But they don't use anywhere near the amount that you get. So why they drop it as much as they do is anyone's guess, really. Because even a PvP player would probably end up getting more than they need, and they very rarely do any of the PvE side. You know, they, like me, will do it very rarely or just at the start in order to maybe to get the skills and stuff that you have to do. Because obviously this game will require even PvP players to do a certain amount of PvE just to get like the skills, because you have to go through some storyline to get like open up all your Bane skills or your other skills that you've got. Maybe just like chatting while I'm still sat in the PvE area. It's fine. I stood here because it shaded. If I stood out anywhere else and my sun thing was going up. I very much doubt we've made any money yet. Although if we have, happy days. Oh, we've got 10,000 started. Oh, we've made some money already. think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to keep reinvesting. Obviously, we're going to keep running that PV dungeon every time we start to run low. And hopefully we can make some decent money. If we can make some decent money for the Solari side, that'll allow us to get some rare blueprints as well. So I'll show you a blueprint that I managed to get because of doing a Landsrad. So the Landsrad thing is like where we can do quests or sort of missions, I guess, for like some of the people that we meet around, both some of them in the deep desert, some of them obviously we've seen as we've been doing the PvE areas. There's a lot more actually in the PvP areas and in the deep desert, but obviously you do see a few of them around in the actual main PvE areas and also in the main towns as well. There's a couple. So those representatives allow us to do quests for them, and those quests allow us to get them points for the Landsrad. And the Landsrad is all about who has control over a council, and the council effectively then allow you to get special items. Now those special items can be voted in by the top guilds on the server as to what you get as those bonuses. So last week our bonuses were based on weapons, and I'm not sure whether the Atreides players were able to get it, but Harkonnen players were able to get those weapons if you went and spoke to the particular kind of trade merchant in the main Harkonnen town. So that being where we were before. And if you go there, you can essentially get some nice stuff. And there is a particular weapon that took my fancy, which you can probably guess, it's a sniper rifle. It's called the Dune sniper rifle, which was originally developed by the Fremen, according, because obviously I like reading the story behind it and stuff like that. And this particular one apparently was used and developed by the Fremen for taking out people like me from the Harkonnens when they went to go and kind of do all the spice, mine it. And this weapon does a ridiculous amount of DPS. It is probably, if it's not the highest at the moment in the game, it's probably close to it. It's 340 DPS per shot. It doesn't have any poison damage, well, at least from what I can tell, and I've not been able to make it yet because it requires some components that I can't get yet, because there's certain things that you need to be able to do. So at the moment we've hit a crash site in the PvE areas. Now while you can get some good Mark 5 stuff from that, these obviously aren't proper PvP areas and obviously don't gather the real PvP players who will actually be more likely to be in the same sort of sites that are in the PvP areas, because they have also all the Mark 6 blueprints, which is what is the top tier in this game, currently at least. And those blueprints obviously even more rarer than the Mark 5, and obviously a lot better stats as well. Now those actual stats for those things obviously is what is attracting those players, because they want all those good gears, and it'll be everything from weapons through to even like ornithopter like wings, etc., which all have these elevated stats on. So I recognise this rock. Our base should be somewhere around here. It will kind of start appearing very shortly. Still listing. There it is. Yeah, so because the players are out there and they'll be looking to gank other players that come through it, but also the reason why they're there is because they'll be waiting for timers out, so they'll be trying to camp it out, and because the blueprint's out there, like where we went now, you always have a chance of getting a blueprint out of the actual main end box. Where when you're out in the deep desert, in the proper PvP areas, the loot boxes out there will only drop one item, and if another player comes to it, they won't see anything other than an empty box. They won't be able to see the blueprints. So when the box is open, that's it. It's not the same thing for everyone. So when you come into where we've been so far, all those areas, every player that comes across can still see what's in the box generally, and you still have a chance to get a blueprint. Well, when you're out there, there's only one blueprint, and that only spawns once every 40 minutes. And obviously, when players want the best gear, that means they'll then cramp that area. Firstly, because it gives them content, because other players will be trying to get that same thing, that blueprint as well, so they'll be guarding it for that. But they'll also want that blueprint, and because there's only one that drops, it forces people to have the PvP. So that's where you get the more PvP engagement. Now, if you want to go obviously do that, then you need to play off prime time, and that goes back to my other thing that I mentioned before about playing on a server that's outside your time zone, because it allows you then to be on the server outside or in its lower point of popularity, or population being on it essentially, and that means that at that point you have a better chance of being able to run through it and not encounter the PvP side of it. Obviously, if you want to be on the PvP side of it, then you can go and do what they do in the prime time, when they say more than just yourself. Because the thing is like, if you're playing like me as a solo player, it's okay for part of a guild, because it means that you can obviously camp that with a few of you, or however many of you. But if you're just playing as a solo player, being able to gank others in that way, or at least trying to hold on to an area, will be hard if a number of players come along, because it doesn't matter how good you are, once you become outnumbered, numbers matter in these types of games. Like you'll survive maybe 2 or 3 at best, before at some point, and depending on like how good you are and how good they are playing together, like realistically 2 players, if they're very good, should be able to easily gank even the best players, because as one is attacking, the other one can attack from behind, and you can't generally defend more than one. Like, this game does have some AoE defense, but not much, so it would be a case of knowing that AoE defense, and you could just stagger the attack very slightly enough that would allow one person maybe to defend it or get triggered by that AoE defense, but the other one just to miss it and then attack just after it. And even in the defense that I've actually looked at and the mechanics behind it, it's easy enough to do that. So even if someone does have an AoE defense and was able to trigger it, it would theoretically maybe allow them to get enough to get away if they did it to try and trigger one, but they wouldn't be able to stay there and fight, just because, if numbers and you understand how to time it and stuff like that, you would still be able to breach the AoE defense. So we have got from our run 110, so we didn't get 110 because, well, obviously we sold 60, so and I took 100 out, so it means that we've got 70 in our run. So that's just one run that's gone through 4 areas. We hit a bit of PvP areas, obviously didn't come across any players. There wasn't too many loot boxes, to be fair, in the PvP areas, so we probably only added another 10 or 20 max, so we at least got 40 at least out of the 2 main PvE areas. There are actually 4 of the boxes have in the row A, so the only way I can really show you this, and the problem I have at the moment is obviously firstly the match reset, but if you notice that there's a slight line there and a slight line there. Now where we are at the moment, and I can't remember the order of what it is, I think A's over this side, and then yeah. So this is row A, and then when you go up, which this line here, this is row B, and then row C, D. Actually, what do I say? A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so the PvE area comes up to E. I think it's halfway up E, or it might be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's halfway up E, the actual the PvP area. So you come up to this line here, so probably that there. I would say probably half of that, if not maybe the whole of it, is in the PvE area. But once you cross a certain line in this, it will essentially change from PvE to PvP. So that means all of this area here, so all of these things here, are areas where players, I've noticed, will put bases. And these bases are exactly the same as what I've built. They will still take storm damage, so you do need to be aware that if you're building, you should realistically be building with Harkonnen or Atreides main building stuff, so stuff that uses the actual these plastone building blocks. If you do anything that builds with the granite, this is less wearing, and essentially because it's less wearing and it's in desert, when these storms come along, you'll find that you'll have to be repairing your base several times during the week in order for your base to just carry on standing. However, if you build it with the plastone, essentially while your base will still take some damage, so I'll show you now, you'll see my base it's been only up for less than a day, and there will be some damage for the repair. See, just very slightly, you can see that there's a very slight gap in that, and if we go to another one inside the shield where it's not taking any damage, you can see that there isn't any, so essentially none. Slight little gap at the very top, and that's just showing the damage. Now that's obviously just less than a day, but even over the week, so like 7 days before it resets, and you have to take your base back out. So one of the things I mentioned that I'll show you is essentially what you'll need to do when you are coming out to deep deserts. Firstly, you do want to build something like this, but you do have to bear in mind that your base will only last a maximum of 7 days, and that's 7 days from reset. So if you bear in mind that the reset is 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, when the storm will come along and literally wipe the whole of the deep desert out. So it's very similar to Haggard's Rift, but the only difference is in Haggard's Rift, at the end of obviously everything, while the map resets and wipes, all the player buildings stay there. However, anything that's left in the deep desert, including your base, will disappear. So what players do is on the Monday, everyone takes their base down, and then on the Tuesday, everyone builds their base back up. So in order to be able to do that, there is a lovely feature that they've built in the game that allows you to do that. And I brought one along with me, this lovely device. And what this does is this will actually scan the building. So I haven't done this yet because I thought, well, I can show it to you guys live. And this is now a copy of my base. So as you can see here, this allows me to put down an exact copy of what I have right now of this base. Now there is one disadvantage of what I currently have with this current base, because this current base is actually designed directly for the geographical location where I am, and as you can see, that means that some of the blocks obviously go right into the ground, but all of those blocks are supporting blocks. So while I've made the main design here, I need to take this somewhere in Haggard's Rift where I can build to put this down and alter the design, and then rescan it. And the reason for that being is because I need a base version of the very top without the foundations. So what I've got here is great because it means that I've got a copy of this base now, which will start me off. But so that I don't have to recreate this this exact design again and again. I just need to make it probably once more in Hagrid's Rift somewhere where I can then take out the things I don't need and make a flat version of it that doesn't have the current kind of building blocks. So effectively I can make a flat version of it that I can then put on the foundations. So all I'll need to do each week is make the foundations a flat foundation, and then I can stick this building on top of it. And that's essentially what you can do. Or you can, like, I'm not sure how many other players get around that. Like, maybe that's what they do. But yeah, I've noticed players tend to do just boxes and things like that. Like, mine's not a complete box, but also it's not a fancy design. I do put my things up still, and these things are actually made of granite, and you'll actually see just how much actually damage these take, and as to why you really do need to build not with sandstone or granite. Let's say it's not sandstone. Like, granite is quite a hard rock in real life, but out here it may as well be made out of sandstone. Yes, believe me, they do. It doesn't really last like rock. So as you can see, full there, and on this side, yeah, it's taken a pretty good gap out of that already. So I just want to like see just how bad this does get, and as the week goes past, I will try and remember to show you how bad that does get as the week goes on. So until we get to next Tuesday, we'll just see how long it would be before, if you were to make out your base and hadn't repaired it, how long these last, because they are made out of granite. So we are at the end of the stream. I am going to cut it there, even though I just start the stream late, purely because I've got other things I need to get on with tonight. But thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow we will go into the deep desert, rather than just on the PvE like cliff tops, and I will show you around the deep desert in some of the areas that we will. Well, I've been actually doing some resource gathering, and we'll also do a shipwreck out there, and we'll also do one of the crash ships and things like that, because the crash ships are really good. I haven't done any of them yet. I did actually land on one today, but I found it really awkward to try and get my laser cutting device onto it, so I didn't end up actually going out there to get any goods, because I landed on it and then I wasn't able to get like my thing into there. But we will soon go out there, enjoy that part, and enjoy all of that stuff. So thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your day and evening, and thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.